Well, good evening, Glue Troopers. I'm getting ready to wrap up the Tarbis for the night, and I got a story for you that part of me didn't want to tell you because it's that embarrassing, but it's just too good not to share. Okay, I'm working on the Hawk P47, which has been a surprisingly difficult kit to make look decent, but largely due to my own mistakes. The cold weather has definitely slowed down the curing process. I left the enamel aluminum paint on the thing 30 hours to dry. Came out, started work on it, put some acrylic olive drab stripe across the top, and it taped off, looked good, and I'm handling the model because I'm going to decal it. I decided to see if I could use the original Hawk decals, and surprisingly they were still good, but because I changed the paint scheme from what the kid had originally intended, a lot of the decals I couldn't use because they were white on aluminum. You couldn't hardly see them. So I got some stuff out of my spares, which leads us to the good part of the story. But first, I was just holding the model well because everything felt dry, you know, and the acrylic had dried. And I was putting the decal, and I picked my thumb up, and across the middle of the back of the airplane, right behind where the canopy would be, there was a gigantic thumbprint. The acrylic was perfectly dry, and the enamel felt dry, but it was still hadn't really cured despite having over 30 hours to do it, because I'm going to say probably because of the cold, and I had a couple of coats on there, and it left a massive thumbprint, so I wound up having to strip that down. And the airplane, I had hand lettered it Miss Melissa in honor of the lady who gave Mystic Modeler the kits when I believe her father passed, and she gave him a bunch of his little kits, and Bruce sent them to me. So I said, hey, you know, somebody suggested, hey, why don't you name one of the planes after? So I named the Thunderbolt Miss Melissa. Well, during all this retacking, I accidentally yanked off the Miss, so it's just Melissa now. And I was like, you know, you get in your own way. I was so careful not to touch anything, but somehow handling the model, I got touched. But that's not the story. These are just the ancillary little drive you bonkers things. And by the way, the cowling on this thing has been surprisingly difficult to mount straight. But again, not the point. So I need some black lettering, so I go into my stores and I get some 1/48 scale U.S. Army Air Corps fighter plane markings, and I decide, oh, here's and the squadron letter is K, and that's perfect, K for Conky, you know, because my name's Max Conky. Anyway, so I put the K's on there and the numbers and everything. It's KH5, I think, which is really a P-51's number, but who cares? I'm, you know, making it what I want it to be. Well, wrong shirt. And anyway, you get my point. So, and I'm really happy with the way it's starting to look. Finally, it's starting to look like, you know, hey, maybe I'm not all thumbs. And then I just about literally was, because I take my hand off and I'd managed to touch one of the K's, and it was on my thumb, or my finger. I think it was my thumb. Anyway, it's like, good, no matter how, anyway, that's not the story. This is all leading up to the good part. So I want to stick it back on, and of course, I've got something in my other hand. Well, I had the airplane in my other hand, and I got the K on my thumb, and there's crap all over the desk, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do the old trick I did when I was building models when I was 10. I'm just going to quick lick and stick it on there, right? I cheat, I know. It's not on my thumb, it's on my tongue. I'm like, not a problem. I can't find it. And I figure, not a problem. I'll grab a mirror, see where it's at. I don't have a mirror in here. I'll use my cell phone. Left my cell phone in the house. I had no way of looking in my own mouth in real time, and I'm sitting there with my jaw a little hanging open and my throat starting to salivate. And I instinctively started to call it, God, don't let me swallow. Two reasons. One, I have no idea what the digestive properties of decals are. And secondly, I don't have another K. So I literally come streaking through the house. Well, you know what I mean. Anyway, I mean, I had my clothes on. I wasn't streaking like, you know, they call him the streak. But I come zipping into the house, and I'm like, because I don't want it to go down my throat. And I'm looking, I flip on all the lights at the big mirror in the big bathroom in front of the vanity. I'm like, I can't see it anywhere. I'm like, and now my mind's like, it's stuck to your roof of your mouth. I can feel it. Don't swallow. Don't swallow. And I'm coughing and yakking, you know, and all the things you would do. and I got the water running this thing, and finally I feel something that feels like plastic slide on my tongue. Way back there near the epiglottis. And sure enough, I see the little wrinkle black thing, boop, into the water, okay? And I'm like, no, let it go down the drain. I don't have another K. You know, danger's over of, you know, like poisoning myself with a decal or choking to death on it, but now I want to save the K. Save the K! So I am able to get it, rinse it, and sure enough, it's rugged and in perfect condition and goes back on the airplane without any argument. Well, it argued plenty, but without any more argument. So I literally yacked up a decal and managed to salvage it. And that, folks, is how my evening went. So, what have you guys been doing? Well, anyway, I was like, I'm never telling anyone about this. And I was like, oh, yes, I am. I'm telling everybody. That one's just too good not to. Ooh, I can see my breath. I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but anyway, so that was that. And there's no doubt that this cold weather is causing everything. I actually initially brought the airplane inside to put the decals on it because it's just getting a little too cold out here. My fingertips are getting numb, and the glue and the paints are taking forever to harden. I did get some work done on that 1/200 scale little AMT Apollo lunar module. You know, that is a surprisingly neat little kit. Everything fit together. There was no arguments putting it together, and you know, painting it. It's just that's thanks for that, because that's just a neat little kit. I got some little bit of touch up, just cleaning up some mistakes on the Twin Otter, but I didn't go very far with it. I was going to decal it today, but it just didn't happen. We had things to do here too, plus on top of that. So it took me a little longer to get this morning's show put together. I'm having a few computer problems. I do have family coming soon, so there won't be a lot more broadcasts for the holidays. I'll probably get something out tomorrow, but I'll update you guys on what my schedule will be. And I have a trip coming up here on Monday, so I'll be gone most of next week, actually out flying the airplane. No more training. I'll actually be captaining. Whee! Hang on, yo! Captain Max is back! And I'm going up to Nuevo York and Buffalo for 3 days. Ooh, drag out the overcoat and the gloves, Mom. All right. Well, one little thing that is kind of cool about that hot kit. You know, when you look at, even though it's raised panels, which I don't care about, when you look at it, actually the detailing on it's pretty good. It's a very simple kit. It's surprisingly difficult to get to look good because there's some fit issues. Then again, very, very typical for a kit of that era. But it's been kind of aggravating to get it just, I think, a turtleback had a lot of, the fits are, That being said, though, the decals are still usable after, 40, 50 years? The actual lines of the airplane are good. There was a ton of flash on the thing I had to scrape off. But, you know, they even have this thing they call the jig, which is a circular disc. You see the propeller, it has a 7-piece prop and hub. You have the 4 blades, 2 pieces of the hub, and of course the shaft. And they give you this circular disc they call the jig, and that's just what it is. You put the hub in there and put the blades in it and make sure they're all lined up, and that's pretty freaking cool. So in a lot of ways, the fact that it gives you the option of the 2 ways to make the kit, it's very innovative. But at the same time, the landing gear doors, for those who don't know, P-47 has 6 landing gear doors. It has the 2 inner ones that fold outward to cover the bottom of the tire after it's retracted. And then the main gear has a 2-piece gear door. It has a big panel that goes over the wheel, and then a longer, slender panel that just goes over the landing gear strut. And when they extend, they compress, so the big panel goes inside the long, skinny panel. But that way, when the plane takes off and the oleo struts extend, those doors are lined up, and it retracts, and then the little inner doors close, and you get this nice seal on the bottom. Well, most model companies will give you, well, I shouldn't say that, everybody does it a little bit differently, but a lot of them will give you the 6 pieces. This kit is only set up to be built with the landing gear down, and the gear doors, both of the doors are one molded piece, so I had to whack that off and putty and everything and to make the gear doors fold. And because I'm gonna pose this one with the gear retracted, and I'm probably not going to use the prop. I'm going to use the. I'm planning to make a clear spinny and put it on a stand. But still, that being said, though, again, very typical kits of that era, but still in many ways quite innovative. You know, that it gives you the option of the Razorback or the bubble top. But then they go and give you they go and counteract that the gear can only be put in gear down with the landing gear door fixed door. So in one way and they give you that jig for the props. So in one way they're like, wow, this is incredibly well thought out and creative and inventive. And another way it's very staid and old school, and I'm kind of like, it's kind of a mixed bag. But I mean, these kits probably cost no more than $1 brand new. So I mean, I realize also, again, getting back to it was the standards of the day. It's perfectly normal for that time, and I'm not being critical of it. I'm just pointing out some of the things about it that are just sort of different. Yeah, you got to give Hawk credit. The same ones that came up with the chrome airplanes and everything. I mean, they were trying. You know, they weren't afraid to innovate, and you know, kudos to them. And it's kind of like visiting the past when you're a kid. I mean, you forget all this stuff, then you build these kits and all that comes back. Oh my God, that's right. I forgot that was so cool. I forgot how much flesh I had to clean off these things. And yes, for those who are wondering, Hawk did sell all their stuff to testers. Okay, so the testers models are the Hawk kits, you know, or were until testers sold out to Rust-Oleum, and then their molds went to J. Lloyd, and then to Round 2, I think has them now, if off the top of my head. So anyway, one of you guys made an interesting observation. I had said that Round 2 was getting rid of a lot of their molds because they were going to focus on their cars, and it was my understanding that, you know, the old school muscle cars are kind of waning. I mean the real ones, their price is kind of stagnant on them. They're not considered a real gold-plated investment like they used to be, because just, you know, shifting, you know, like I say, the people like me and probably like a lot of us that like GTOs and Firebirds and stuff, we're kind of gentrifying. But somebody made a really good observation that said, yeah, but the sales of the modern little Japanese sports cars and everything are booming, both the real cars and the models, because it's a generational thing. The new generation's coming up on a new technology. I hadn't thought about that. And that was a real interesting thought. And anyone, I mean, we all know that these modern cars deliver so much performance in a small package, way more than any old muscle cars. And they're lighter, they're faster, they have better brakes, they're safer. But of course, you know, we grew up with what we grew up. So it's what we love because it holds a place in our heart. And you know, I know some cars more that they look cool. I know the Firebird never had as much power as the Camaro and that kind of stuff, you know, but I'm probably going to catch heck for that down in the comment section, because I'm sure there's some Firebird guys out there that are going to get defensive. But remember, Firebird used, I believe it was the Oldsmobile engines, I think. Pontiac used Olds engines, and they just didn't put out the power that Chevy was jamming into the Camaros. But I love them both. And anyway, great. Now I got to go get a model Firebird, a model Camaro. Excuse to buy more models. Guys, that's it for now. I'm just rambling at this point. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Hope you have a great evening. Still trying to cough up a little more. You know, if I keep coughing hard enough, maybe a British Roundel will come out, or you know. Anyway, okay, that's it. I'm done. You guys have a great evening, and model on. Hey guys, I literally just got in from doing tonight's episode, and my wife told me that there was a box at the door, and this is from Orange Tabby. So I have opened it, but I have not looked inside it, so let's see what he has to say. And by the way, Orange Tabby, thank you. Greetings, Max, a little gift for you. This is for passing your retraining. your hard work on these Exodus projects, and a little something for Christmas. I bought one of these for myself as well. I hear it is a nice build. Please add it to your stash and enjoy later after you manage to catch up with the conga line of kits on your build table. And to you and your family, have a Merry Christmas. So thank you, Orange Tabby, and a Merry Christmas to you too. And let's see. Oh, wow. Yeah. This is the Tamiya P38FG. And this is a 148 scale. And this is beautiful. Thank you. Wow. And a little bit of irony, the story that I just told you. One of the decals, the one on the cowling, and the ones that wound up on the side of the fuselage came from my Monogram 148 scale P38 kit. Although it was the wing decals, I think, that were put on the fuselage. Anyway, and that's just it's interesting how the Great Styrene River, everything flows. You're working on your P47 from using decals from your P38 and your P51, and then a beautiful P38 shows up. And it's funny because I was just lamenting earlier that the P38 that I have on the shelf, the Monogram one, is I wasn't real happy with the job I did on it, especially on the canopy. And I was like, I got to get another P38 because I want to put something nicer up there. The paint job had some blemishes, and I just wasn't 100% satisfied. And it's the one with the big scoops on it, and this is the model with the swept scoops, which, by the way, I think this P38 was actually a little bit faster because of more aerodynamic scoops, but they had some heating and cooling issues. But still, that's beautiful, Orange Tabby. Thank you very much. I look forward to doing this. And this one I'm going to do justice to. I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to slow down and, oh man, that's beautiful. We all know Tamiya makes beautiful kits. And I got a suspicion that thing rolling around in there might be the nose weight, because some Tamiya tricycle gear Tamiya kits come with a ball bearing to put in the nose, but which is, I mean, it's Tamiya. Oh, that's beautiful. Let's see. Yeah, the F model and the G model. And of course I have a photograph of a perfectly done cockpit to motivate me. Okay, well, thank you very much, Orange Tabby, and you guys have a wonderful evening. A very Merry Christmas, and thanks for tuning in.
It's Christmas at Ground Zero. There's music in the air. The sleigh bells are ringing and the carolers are singing while the air raid sirens blare. It's Christmas at Ground Zero. The button has been pressed. The radio just let us know that this is not a test. Everywhere the atom bombs are dropping, it's the end of all humanity. No more time for last minute shopping. It's time to face your final destiny. But it's Christmas at Ground Zero. There's panic in the crowd. We can dodge debris while we trim the tree underneath the mushroom cloud. You might hear some reindeer on your rooftop, or Jack Frost on your windowsill. But if someone's climbing down your chimney, You better load your gun and shoot your kill. Well, it's Christmas at ground zero, and if the radiation level's okay, I'll go out with you and see all the new mutations on New Year's Day. It's Christmas at ground zero, just seconds left to go. I'll duck and cover with my Yuletide lover underneath the mistletoe. It's Christmas at ground zero, now the missiles are on their way. What a crazy fluke, we're gonna get nuked on this jolly holiday. What a crazy fluke, we're gonna get nuked on this jolly holiday.